Welcome to this webinar focused on physician compensation for clinical research participation. At GuideStar, we work with hospitals, health systems, and physician practices across the country to build, support, and optimize clinical research programs. I'm Kristen Hutchins, Chief Executive Officer at GuideStar. I'm so glad that you have found this webinar, and I hope it provides guidance as you develop your program's compensation model. As your research program continues to grow and develop, it is important to nurture your physicians' engagement and enthusiasm. One way to do this is through marketing and promoting the physicians as researchers in their field. Another way is through compensation for the role that they play in research. But what is equitable and fair when it comes to financial compensation? This webinar will shed light on this topic and give you information you need to evaluate compensation models to find the best fit for your organization. Before diving into determining your specific model of physician compensation as it relates to research, you should look at the regulations impacting physician payments. 5 crucial areas that must be considered are fair market value, False Claims Act, Anti-Kickback Statute, Stark Law, and the Sunshine Act. The fair market value of a physician's time should be calculated using one or more industry standard surveys, for example, Sullivan-Cotter or Hay Group. It is not unusual for per-hour fees for physician time to vary by specialty, region, and years of experience. These surveys provide an objective way to determine each physician's individual fair market value. In clinical research, the most common trigger of the False Claims Act is double billing, which is billing the third-party payer for procedures that are being paid for by the sponsor as part of the protocol. In order to alleviate the compliance risk of double billing when items are both routine care and research related, institutions must keep documentation of how and when a third-party payer will be billed. The main purpose of the anti-kickback statute is to protect patients and healthcare programs funded by the government from fraud and abuse that can result when healthcare decisions are partly based on the influence of money. Due to the inherent nature of clinical research, whereby sponsors pay principal investigators for their participation, this is an important regulation with which to comply. The institution should review the budget and clinical trial agreements to ensure that any reimbursement for physician time is validated with a time and effort assessment performed prior to study activation. Under the Stark Law provisions, a clinician is precluded from making referral of a Medicare or Medicaid recipient to a facility with which it has a financial relationship. To manage the risk associated with research participation, the institution should regularly perform compliance reviews and audits and look for key factors that may be a Stark Law violation. The Sunshine Act requires drug and device manufacturers or trial sponsors who receive government reimbursements to report payments or other transfers of value to physicians and teaching hospitals to the Department of Health and Human Services. This includes payments for time and effort associated with clinical trial participation. With these rules in mind, what are some of the first steps you can take? Consider these questions. What organizational compensation models exist? Could any of these be modified to fit the needs of the research program? How do active research physicians feel about the current compensation model? What would be their ideal model? Remember to get your physician's input here to figure out which model is the best fit for your organization. And whatever you develop, and I can't stress this enough, make sure it's a solid methodology that is appropriately documented. Thank you for viewing this webinar today to learn more about developing your organization's physician compensation model. With a solid model in place to recognize your physician's involvement with research, they will surely be excited and engaged with the effort. GuideStar works with hospitals, health systems, and physician practices around the country to build, manage, and support clinical research programs. From helping incorporate a clinical trial strategy to providing management guidance and support, our service delivery is based on operational and financial best practices to ensure optimal results for research programs.